Hi again. As I promised, number 7 is coming up, and I've already cut the paper, and I cut the paper from the Botanical Stack. I got it for $6. There's a special buy, and yeah, I think that was Joann's or Michael's. I can't remember, but I love this paper for $6. It is gorgeous, y'all. It is kind of fruity, as you can see, but some of the papers are just really beautiful. It was definitely worth $6. I didn't have any particular thing in mind when I bought it, but, you know, sometimes you need paper that you don't think about while you're at the store, so that kind of went too fast. I'm sure I have a video showing you this paper also. What is that? Is that butterflies? No, that's leaves. That's a really cute sheet. And, you know, it has mixed textures on it. That's beautiful. I think that's real pretty. Wouldn't that be a pretty Christmas? Oh, that is just, look how pretty that is. That whole thing is just gorgeous. I could see that on a cover of a mini album. That's pretty. Pretty. I love that sheet. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I think we're going to tear this one out. Because I was looking at this, honestly, when I first went through the book. And I hadn't decided one way or the other whether I was going to use that or not. And, you know, doing a card, that's a perfect opportunity to use some of these borders. Let me see here. Because I don't use borders in mini albums too very often. I just don't know how to use borders, y'all. You probably, like if you do layouts, you know, I think maybe you have more experience with borders, maybe. But I haven't done those yet. So I'm not that experienced. Okay, so gosh, y'all, this paper is just gorgeous. Look at that. Look at the texture on that paper and those butterflies. So pretty. So the paper I picked out for my card base is we're going to do a yellow card base. I think I have enough. Okay. A yellow card base, and then I did pull out this yellow beigey corrugated cardstock, and then I pulled this, and then I cut this into 4 6x6s, and I just think that that is so pretty. And it has a lot of texture, and it's kind of a, I guess you would call that maybe a periwinkle blue. So it has blue tones. You're kind of seeing it at its true color. I mean, it's kind of a grayish blue. Look at that. Okay, y'all. Sorry. I just love it. For $6. How can you go wrong there? Alright. So this part's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to tape this down. Well, I'm excited that I bought this corrugated cardstock and now I'm using it. I mean, that's the best part. Because I bought this a little while ago, and you know, I've been thinking about making cards, but I really just don't have a lot of experience with that, so I had never really done it. So I'm really new at this, and I just love the fact that I'm using stuff that I've been buying, because y'all know how it is. We buy, but whether or not it actually gets used, if we use it before we lose it, if you're like me, it gets pretty, you know, I got a lot of stuff here, and I'm sure y'all have the same issue, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. See, I just think that is just so gorgeous. I just think it's so pretty. So, I'm going to go ahead and I do have a, what do I have here? I'm going to do some vintage photo. just because there is a little bit of a white core. So, some paper has it and some doesn't. I am finding. Alright, so I just did it real lightly. I did not distress it. I just took away that white line. Alright. So here again, there is no method to my madness here. I have somewhat of a vision, but really, I'm not really sure until I actually see it. Y'all know what I mean? You get inspiration from a piece and you know it'll work, but you're not really sure what the outcome is going to look like. And I just love this paper. I'm tickled. Alright. You know, that's one good thing about doing cards like this and doing so many is you can play with some stuff, because it doesn't really require a lot of your stuff to make a card. But you can play with your stuff that you haven't been able to play with. And also, if you have leftovers, you know, I'm sure y'all know this already, but alright, so that's the base. And I think I've got my scissors here. I'm not sure. I might use this inside the card, the border, but I am thinking a butterfly. So which one? Well, I hope they like butterflies at that place. Let's see. I mean, it is just stunning. I mean, I cannot decide. I'm thinking it's got to be this one on the top. I'm thinking so, y'all. And maybe I could put two on there. I don't know. Alright. Well, thank gosh. Thank goodness it's Wednesday. Thank goodness it's Wednesday. It's hump day. It's a very good thing. I'm ready for the weekend already. It's been kind of, I mean, you know, on top of being on call, which makes it crazy, but in the same token, it's quiet right now, and I think that's because everybody's on vacation. There's a lot of people on vacation. It's amazing how it's just hustle and bustle, and then every once in a while you get a little bit of a quiet spell, which is very good. But, you know, it can be a little, when you're working from home, you have to be very disciplined. And it can be a little challenging when you're not very busy. So, the way I am, I'm either 100%, well, I say 100%, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but like I am either productive or not productive. There's not really a in-between for me, though I guess there is, sort of. Like I'll be really busy in the morning and I'll really just, you know, go crazy at work during the morning, and then the afternoon comes and it's kind of slows down, and then, you know, you could be proactive and look for things that are wrong. Sometimes that's hard to do, just depending on what mood you're in. I don't know. I think y'all know what I'm talking about, though. Usually I am my most productive when I'm busy, if I'm under a crunch or a deadline, or, you know, something that has to be done right away. I'm usually really good with that. Things that can be done, you know, eventually. I'm not so good at those. I'm not sure what you would call that. My husband would probably call it a procrastinator, but but I am really, really good with urgent issues, you know, urgent things. I'm really good with that. But it's not always like that, so. And you don't want to do that all the time. You don't want to always be working on urgent issues 24/7. You know, or doing, you know, if you're always putting out fires, you get wore out, I think. You know, these antennae just bother me on butterflies. I end up just like cutting them off. You can always add them later if you really must have antenna. See, I'm kind of silly. I think it's getting late for me. All right. No antenna give you opportunity to be creative. All right? Either be imaginative and you visually see antenna there even though they are not there, or creative and you create antenna from something else. We'll see which one I do. You know, and I did cut this head, but to me this head is just wonky. It doesn't look right. I had to round it up because he has kind of a weird head. Let me it's kind of got some hard cuts. Let me kind of soften those up a little bit. You know, sometimes you just gotta fix it, whatever it is. I'm not sure how I like that butterfly fussy cut. Alright. And the thing I don't like about it too is that it's, or just in this particular case, is that the paper is single-sided. So how I kind of cheat on that is I'll ink up the back side. That way, just in case anything shows up, it's not just glaringly white. And this cardstock is very thick. So sometimes if it's a thin cardstock, I would back it with another piece of cardstock and just cut it from there. But if I'm just trying to make the piece look finished and it's thick enough, I just ink it up, y'all. Just, to me, it's just better than it being, you know, glaringly white. If somebody were to see underneath. Which I know y'all can't see here. There we go. Alright. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Just as even as I can possibly make it. And that's assuming I even use this, y'all, because I may put it on here and decide not to use it. Alright, so it needs to dry just a little bit. I do like it, though, I must say. I don't know how the... we'll just make sure it's on the card. Alright, I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and I'll be right back. Because I got ink all over me, too. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, y'all, I'm back. I just did a stamp on the page that'll go inside this card. This is a can band stamp, and I put little stickles on it. Look at how perfect that stamp is. That is a good stamp. I'm just letting you know. I am no expert by any means, but you know I've messed up a lot of images from stamping, so maybe I might know a decent stamp when I see one, but this is the can band stamp. And it is so nice. I have to say, I mean, out of my rubber stamps and all my stamps, any stamp that I've ever, I mean, probably even like Graphic 45 stamps, I think these might be the best stamps I've ever used. I don't know. I mean, just from my experience and my opinion, is the image just stamped so beautifully. And I don't have a lot of stamps, but I have probably maybe 15 or 30. 15 or 30, that's a big number. I probably have 30 stamps. And I do like the Prima Doll stamps. Those are very nice stamps too. I don't know, it's just something about the way it feels when you stamp it. It has a really nice, it's very, what am I trying to say? The way it's cut is it's cut very high, you know, like, I don't know. It stamps really nice. Anyway, just an FYI. If y'all are interested in any of the Kanban stamps, they have some beautiful stamps. Anyway, so enough of that. And I just can't get over how beautiful that is. And it's not because I'm so skilled. It is mostly because of the quality of the stamp. Anyway, alright, so I gotta let that dry because I've got some stickles on those little swirls there. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, maybe you can see that. Maybe. Anyway, so I got stickles on there. And then I did put this butterfly on there. This is my professional stamp pad. It's not very professional. And I thought that I would... Oh, no. Oh, here it is. Okay. I was thinking to dress this up, I would use these flat back pearls on here. And I think that'll be cute. You know, I have got to figure out some masculine stamps. I don't really have any masculine paper. But out of all these cards that I'm doing, did I say masculine stamp? I meant card. Out of all these cards I'm doing, I don't have a single masculine card. And that's just wrong. So I'm going to have to figure something out there. But, you know, I'm so new to the whole stamping thing anyway, so. But I'm having fun. It is a lot of fun. I think it's really good practice, too. I think everybody should probably do this once. If not more than once. I mean, if somebody likes it. Oh, this glossy accent's really been giving me grief. I think it's got a little dried bit in there, and it keeps blocking my squeeze. Alright, where are we at? Probably way more now than I need. So, in between doing this card, see, it blocked again. It got blocked when I squeezed it too hard and it came gushing out. While I was working on this card, I was watching regular TV, which is unusual for me, and the show Born on the 4th of July was on, and it has been years since I have seen that. It's a really good show. I was really surprised. You know, sometimes when you watch those shows, the older shows, they might seem a little cheesy. And I say older shows, I don't mean like classics, like black and whites. I don't think black and whites are ever cheesy. But I'm trying to think of like maybe a show that I had watched when I was younger and then watched it now. Y'all know what I mean. Like if it's from the 80s or 90s. Of course, you know, the older I get, I may change my opinion on that. Who knows? I don't think there's such thing as a cheesy black and white movie, though. I don't know if it's because they don't make movies like they used to. I mean, I don't know if that's an accurate statement. Because I'm sure that there are still good movies. But black and whites, I don't know, they're just amazing. Like, you know, Breakfast at Tiffany's and Love in the Afternoon. Oh, that's a great one. Or, I don't know, there's so many. Splendor in the Grass, Imitation of Life, Peyton Place. I could go on. All About Eve. Love Lana Turner, anything with her. Love Natalie Wood. But no, but Born on the 4th of July, it was actually good. It actually grabbed me in the first, you know, few minutes of the movie. Being that I don't really watch TV anymore, and I don't really watch older shows that much, or at least from my generation, it grabbed me like in the first 30 minutes. And I had to watch the rest. And it was a really good show. It reminds me of my uncle's, or my uncle, I should say, my uncle Jerry. Yeah, I did cut that a little long. He was in Vietnam, and when I was younger, he used to tell me stories about it. How awful it was. But so I think about those days when I was younger. But you know, it reminds me of this story of this man I met one time. I was really young. I was probably 22, and I lived in Midtown Memphis. And that area is tricky. You know, it can be, it's a historic district, and the houses and the apartments, and I mean, it's really potentially just a beautiful area. I lived right across the street from a park, and I loved it. I mean, I loved it. It was a very artsy area. It was close to downtown. It was, you know, I hate to say the word, but trendy, you know, kind of. But I had to do my laundry, and I didn't have a washer or dryer in my house, or my apartment, rather, that I rented. And, I wonder if I should cut that one off. You know, it's when I learned that, that usually what you give to people is what you get back. You know, I've always felt like you should treat people with respect until they prove you wrong. You know, until they, basically, you know, sometimes in society, people, it's the opposite way. You know, they don't treat people with respect until somebody's earned your respect. But the way I was raised was that you treated everybody the same. You know, you always looked everybody in the eye, and you treated everybody the same, no matter what they look like, or, you know, of anything. You know, you look them in the eye, and you treat them the same. You know, you're going to run into people in your life that are different than you. And, you know, my mom grew up with a cousin. Yeah, a cousin, who he had Down syndrome. And I think that's where it comes from. You know, she would, you know, tell us if somebody, you know, if somebody didn't, what's the word I'm trying to say? No matter what, you should always treat people the same no matter what, basically. And so, long story short, I just drew that out like for 15 minutes and probably didn't need to. But sometimes you see something and you might be taken aback or something like that and you don't respond correctly. Well, I was taught the opposite, that you didn't respond. You know, you just, well, there's the phone. I'll be back, y'all. Okay, so that was Greg. He was calling to check in. But my point was that I was raised to treat everyone with respect. And one day I happened to I went to the laundromat and I was by myself, and it was in Midtown. And while I was there, a man came in and he looked homeless. I mean, I think he was probably homeless. And he sat down and he had this green army jacket on. And at first I looked at him and I was like, oh, you know, I was a little bit worried. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But eventually, he was in there reading a book. He had a dog with him, like a German Shepherd. And, I mean, he appeared to me that he might have been homeless. And I don't remember if he said something to me first, but later on, as I was doing laundry, this car pulled up and was sitting in the parking lot, and he flashed his lights, because when I got there it was still daylight, and then it became dusk or whatever, and then it became dark. You know, in the South it becomes dark pretty quick. But he was sitting out in the parking lot and he started flashing his lights. He was really weird. At least I felt like he was really weird. And the guy that was in there with his dog, he said that guy, he's acting weird. And I'm like, yeah, he kind of is, you know. And I don't know, I don't remember, this was so many years ago, y'all. It was like 20 years ago. But so the guy drove away, and then the one that was outside that was acting weird, he drove away, and then the one in the laundromat, he just started talking to me. And next thing I know he starts telling me about how he was in the Vietnam War. And he might have even told me that he was homeless. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. But we sat there probably for, you know, an hour, and he just told me, you know, about himself, basically. And normally, you know, maybe a person might not have been open to that conversation, but I don't know. But long story short was that, yeah, I did just put a petaloo flower here. Long story short is he told me about how he was unemployed. He'd gotten back from Vietnam and he couldn't find a job, and he pretty much explained to me how his life was, and he wasn't looking for money or anything like that. He was just talking to me like a human being, and vice versa. And then my laundry got done, and he said, I had everything folded and put into my baskets, and I was about to walk out, and he said, well, let me go out there first and check and make sure it's okay. So he went outside and checked, and he walked around to the side of the building, and sure enough, that car was sitting there with his lights out, and like he was waiting on me. And so the guy came back in, and he said, well, that guy's still outside, he's still weird, or he seems weird, and let me walk you out to your car. And I said, okay. So he picked up my laundry and he helped me put it in my car, and then I left, and I don't know, that day just touched me. Like, I don't know, it was really hard to explain. I wished, I was so young, I didn't know better. I wish there would have been some way that I could have paid him back, or, I don't know. But I think he was happy that, that we just had a really nice conversation, and probably maybe he hadn't, had a conversation like that in a really long time. At least that's how I took it. And so I've always remembered that. So when I think of Vietnam, I think of that. I think of my uncle, but then I also think of that moment at that laundromat. And so I have always tried to, I've always tried to show everyone respect since then, especially. I learned a valuable lesson. Like, if I would have judged him based on his looks alone, I wouldn't have had that conversation. I wouldn't have had that insight. I wouldn't have, I might not trust people the way that I do now. I don't know. It changed my life, Oh, I think I got ink all over this shell. My perfect stamping, and I think I got ink all over it. But I feel like that's taken care of me all of my life. I feel like I've put myself in some situations where, it could have turned out to be disastrous, but since, I behaved like a lady, like my mom would say, I don't know. I've had good luck. I've had good karma with people. I mean, I hope it continues forever, but anyway, it's just something to think about. So those types of situations always make me think of that person. But you know what, though? He had a good dog. And he was very lucky to have that dog. And I think that might have been how the conversation started. I think we might have been talking about his dog. Anyway, so y'all probably think I'm silly. I really like this card. I like the way it turned out. I like the pearls, and I like the little flower up here in the corner. This paper is really neat. I like the butterfly. And then the inside, I'm very pleased with that as well. It turned out really well with the stamp job and everything. Oh, I didn't make sure that my stickles were dry, but they are. I think they are. I just put a very little amount. But I probably should leave that open until it dries. Alright, well, this is card number 7. I think the number's right. Whatever the number says in the beginning of the video is what this card is. I believe it is number 7. And then we have number 8 coming up. And I have an idea what I want to do with number 8. And I'm going to use one of these. This is going to be fun. I'm going to paint it, I think. Anyway, you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.